Drought causing havoc across Jamaica. Criminals thief school water tank. Businessman shot dead in Westmoreland while a Las Vegas lawyer shoots daughter-in-law. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. A Las Vegas area lawyer fatally shot his former daughter-in-law and the lawyer representing her during a child custody deposition hearing and then allegedly turned the gun on himself according to court documents. The gunfire erupted on the fifth floor of the Prince Law Group office in Summerlin on Monday around 10 a.m., Police Lieutenant Jason Johansson said in a news conference. It is said that 7 people were present in the office at the time. The shooter is said to be Joe Houston, who had been representing his son Dylan Houston in the proceedings, and he's the grandfather of the children. They were just minutes into the custody case when the elder Houston stood up and started shooting at 2 people across from him, sources said. Dylan Houston's ex-wife Ashley Prince and her husband Dennis Prince, who were also serving as her attorney, were both fatally struck in the gunfire while the others in the room managed to escape without injury. And the reason why this might have happened is that Ashley had filed for sole custody of the children she shared with Dylan, court documents shows. According to divorce documents obtained by a news media, Ashley Prince and Dyla Houston were married in 2017. They had 2 children together before Dylan filed for divorce 4 years later. While they initially agreed to split custody of the kids, Ashley sought to have her agreement modified in 2022 after Dylan tested positive for cocaine and alcohol while he had custody of the kids. He was also arrested in 2020 on a DUI charge which was later pleaded down to reckless driving per court documents. Ashley was ultimately granted an order of protection against her ex-husband, who was told to remain at least 100 yards away from the mother of his children and undergo regular drug and alcohol screenings. And after Monday's shooting, a member of Ashley's family was granted custody of the couple's children by way of emergency order, and the next custody case is scheduled for later in April. And custody cases are one of the most stressful encounters a human could ever go through, especially when one individual wants to be spiteful, and some real spiteful people are out there. Ashley wanted to get sole custody of the kids, leaving her husband out, and apparently the grandfather was having none of it. Vice Chair of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucien Jones, is taking the agency responsible for maintaining Jamaica's main roads to task for its lack of response to recommendations to reduce crashes. Dr. Jones said that the National Works Agency was approached to fix road defects following an island-wide survey, but he said the feedback was less than satisfactory. He said the police went around the entire island identifying those spots that have poor markings, where there were potholes where the sign is not sufficient, and he said we approached the National Works Agency and until this day we can't get them to act. Their answer? They don't have any money. When you have 10 people dying the first 4 days of April, that's a national crisis. Money needs to be found from somewhere, he insisted. And up to Tuesday, there were 119 road fatalities, just slightly down from the 124 recorded over the same period last year. And drought is getting very serious in Jamaica. The government has allocated an initial $150 million to facilitate the trucking of water and procurement and distribution of water tanks to areas that are experiencing water challenges due to persistent drought conditions. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement on Tuesday during a statement in the House of Representatives. The Prime Minister said Jamaica was in the throes of a meteorological, hydrological, and agricultural drought with the western parishes of Hanover and Westmoreland particularly affected. An initial amount of $1.5 million will be allocated to each of 50 constituencies, with additional amounts going to the parishes of Hanover, Westmoreland, Clarendon, and St. Elizabeth. Meanwhile, with all the drought going on, thieves have now stolen the water tank from a school in Westmoreland. Prime Minister Andrew Holness denounced the theft of a water tank from Negril Primary School in Westmoreland over the Easter vacations, describing it as a disturbing news item. He reminded the House that police must conduct a comprehensive investigations and bring the criminals to justice. On Monday, it was reported that the water tank had been stolen from the elementary school despite Negril being in the midst of a water crisis. And according to the reports, one of the 4 water tanks at the local elementary school was stolen, causing significant damages to the institution. Sharon Sucre, the school's principal, expressed concern that they might have to close the school unless the tank and its contents were replaced. And you just see how people wicked. This is an elementary school where the age is anywhere from 4 to 6 years old. A Trelawney man has been arrested and charged after he allegedly held a woman at gunpoint and raped her. He's Damien Mays of Waterlane, Falmouth in the parish. And according to reports from the Falmouth police on Monday, March 18, Mays approached a woman and allegedly brandished what appeared to be a firearm. And it's alleged that he then forced the woman into a secluded area where he sexually assaulted her. On April 1st, Mays was reportedly pointed out to the police in the town of Falmouth and was taken into custody. And he's scheduled to appear before the Trelawney Parish Court on April 12 to answer the charge of rape. A man has been charged following the investigations into a gun attack which occurred last month at Hellgate in Montpelier Sandy Bay in Hanover. He is 29-year-old Kino Ellis, otherwise called Beanie Man, a laborer from Hellgate in the parish. Ellis is charged with wounding with intent, possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and using a prohibited weapon to commit a felony. Ellis is charged in connection with the shooting and injuring of a 25-year-old man from the community on Tuesday, March 26. And reports are that about 8 p.m., the now injured man was walking home when he came upon a group of men armed with handguns. The men reported open gunfire at him, hitting him in his right foot. He ran and fell, and the men escaped in a waiting motor car. Family members assisted the injured man to hospital, where he was admitted in stable condition. And the accused was taken into custody during a police operation recently, and he was charged after a question and answer session on Tuesday. A businessman was shot dead at his establishment in Darliston, Westmoreland on Monday night, and he has been identified as 36-year-old Dwayne Kinglock. Reports from the police are that Mr. Kinglock was inside his shop when he was pounced upon by two men armed with handguns who opened gunfire at him before making their escape on foot in the community. 17 9mm spent shells were retrieved from the scene. And the police were summoned, and upon their arrival, they discovered Mr. Kinglock lying on his back inside the shop on a refrigerator. He was transported to the Savlamar Public General Hospital, where he was pronounced dead, and investigations are now ongoing. Onto sports, Racing United continued their dominance of the Jamaica Football Federation Champions League after scoring a come-from-behind 3-1 win over St. Bess United in their return round game played at the Lacovia Community Center in St. Elizabeth on Saturday. DeAndre Johnson scored a double for Racing United as they improved to 40 points, which is 6 more than second place True Juice FC, who also scored a 3-1 win over Baptist Alliance. Chapelton Maroons are third on 27 points, which is 1 more than Baptist Alliance, after edging Brownstone 1-0, avenging their first round loss by the same margin with an added time goal from Nishan Bennett. And the teams that end up first and second in this competition will qualify to replace the two demoted teams from the Premier League. And don't forget that the best news and sports takes place on this station. If you ever miss the news, please go to YouTube, type in Jamerican Undiluted News, list, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. That's news and sports on your favorite radio. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.